This is an O-scale printed cardstock model. Small Town Depot from clevermodels.net, part number S16. Cost $9 to download the files and then you print them out. I'm using 110-pound cardstock paper from Staples brand cardstock. Now, I wasn't planning on doing an interior on this building, so I did a technique on the windows that's really what I wanted to do a video and show you how I did the windows in this. The whole model though came out really nice. I'm a little pickled with how these models come out from Clever Models. They have really good detail, and you can add more detail to them as much as you want to do. This is how it looks on my layout. I just kind of put it on here just to do the video. This is going to be in the shelter house on the lodge layout. So it's not on my layout now, but I put it on here so you can see this in the video. So we're going to get to it, and I'll show you how I built this cardstock model. First thing is the windows. I'm cutting out all of the white part. It says right on the paper, cut this out. So I cut these out, and for a building that I'm not doing an interior on, I don't want to be able to see inside. I was thinking about doing some shadow boxes on this, but I just decided with the way that the roofs overhang, I just didn't want to mess with it. So I cut out the white parts, or the insides of the windows and the doors on the walls. These windows will go in behind the wall, like so. So I'm cutting them out around them. I'm not cutting them along the edge. So like on this door, I'm cutting it out and I'm leaving space around the outside of it, so I can glue it to the back of the wall. Making sure that when I cut it out, I'm not cutting it too big for the wall. Always make sure that you color the edges of the paper. Now my wife got me 100 set Crayola markers. Those work real well because there's so many different colors in there. I mean, there's like 5 different shades of light gray. So you can find whatever color you're looking for to color the edges of the models. That works really nice. So after I get all those pieces cut out for the back, this window trim will also be behind the wall, but will be in front of those. So they go on just like this. Then those will go behind the wall of the building. And then I still got to do the door. So I'll have to cut out the white part of that door trim, and then I'll cut around the outside edge like I did the other pieces, so I can glue it to the back of the wall. So this is what you end up with. Now the next part, this is, oh yeah, don't forget you gotta color these pieces. So I used a little bit of charcoal on this one. I didn't have that 100-piece Crayola set when I did this building, but charcoal also works well, and you can use it on a lot of different colors. It gives it a gray look and will work for your paper models. And charcoal is cheap and it's easy to get. So we've got all of these pieces. Now this is the trick. I'm using Gorilla packaging tape. And now I'm using this. I like it. I had some, that's why I'm using it really. But I like it because it's really thick. This is like a lot thicker than regular Scotch tape. But really, Scotch tape works just fine. I just had this and I wanted to use it because it was thick, and I do like this, the way it worked. Now where these windows are, I'm just covering them with tape. And like I said, you can use Scotch tape for this and it will work just fine. Probably work better than this for gluing. Because then you only have to cover the little part, the black parts where the actual, you want it to look like glass. That's the only thing that has to be covered with the tape. Now I did it this way. I used this jar just to show you on the video. On the other walls I had this tape on the side of the table like this. But I did this so that my tape has a perfect, that doesn't have any lines in it or any hairs or nothing. I wanted to make sure it was as clear as possible when I taped it onto the windows. Then cut off the extra tape. If you're using this kind. Now if you're using Scotch tape, it will cover those windows and you wouldn't have to do this part. You wouldn't have to cut the extra tape off. But the Gorilla Tape, it worked pretty well. So after I get the tape on there, then it's gluing these pieces to the part of the window you're building. So all these pieces have to be glued. And that's how it sits on the model. And when I'm putting the glue on, I'm using a toothpick. It's just Elmer's glue. Regular PVA, school glue, white glue, whatever you want to call it. I'm using a toothpick because I want to make sure that I keep the glue away from the window edges, where the edges are going to be by the window. And I'll put it on real thin around there if I want to have some glue on it, but most of the glue I put around the outside edge so it stays away from the glass part, and then glue it on real careful. If any glue does get on there, you just wipe it off real quick. Then I glue that assembly. I glue that assembly to the back of the wall. Same thing. I keep the glue towards the edges so that it doesn't, bleed through behind the walls, so it doesn't show up on the window that I'm gluing in. I'll get that part in there real good, just right. Then I'll flip it over and check the back and make sure that it's all glued in good and looks like it's going to hold. After I get all of those glued to the back of the wall, the next step is to cut out the trim for the front side of the wall. So all the trim that goes around the edges of the windows and the doors on the outside is what's next. Whenever I'm cutting stuff that has little close edges, a lot of times I'll finish the cuts from the back. Just leave myself a little space so I don't cut too far. I messed up a lot of windows by trying to cut them from the front. I like to color the edges while it's still inside the paper. I cut out the inside parts of the small pieces and then color the edges before I cut out the outside parts. After I cut out the rest of it, then I'll color the edges on the outside. It's just a little easier when you do a bunch of them. You pick up stuff like that. Same thing with the toothpick, putting on the PVA glue. I try to get it all around the edge, but not have enough that it's squeezing out all over the place. Then he does squeeze out, you know, when you're putting it on, he squeezes out. What I do is just try to get it off right away. I'll use like an edge or a corner of a piece of scrap paper and just go right into the wherever it slipped out a little bit and kind of wipe it up. So then there's another layer of trim to put on top. This is what the trim pieces look like. Here they are glued on. I just wanted you to get an idea of the thickness that it shows. Kind of gives it some thickness to the front of your wall. Really, this is the part of the video I wanted to do, is just show you the windows. But I figured I went this far, might as well do the rest. So this is the outside trim on the wall. Color the edges. Always color the edges. So some of the first models I did, I didn't worry about coloring the edges, and I thought it doesn't matter. It's paper, it's thin, you won't hardly see it. And then after the model was done, I thought, man, I saw other models that look great, and mine didn't look so good when I didn't color the edges. So then it's gluing the trim on. I did the same thing with the trim. Used a toothpick and almost. After I got all the trim on the outside, then I was gluing the walls together. I used some of them little paper clips just to hold it while the glue dried. Keep my corners square, tight. The base, I put on foam board. And I also use foam board for some of the stiffeners inside. I also use some of the paper cardstock stiffeners that come in the kit, but I use the foam board. This foam board here on my base, I had to use that because my base was kind of warped. So that's why that foam board is glued to it like that. Kind of flattened it out a little bit. See how the windows kind of reflect, and it makes it look like there's something inside, even though you can't see in. So I didn't come up with this technique. One of the Clever Model kits, I think it was the Ice House. That was a free download a while back. And I think it had that in the instructions to use Scotch tape. So that's where that came from. So these are all the braces under the roof. I use super glue on these. This kind of stuff's just tedious to cut out and do, but it looks really good. And then I attached them on the wall, and I'm pretty sure I used super glue on those when I attached them to the wall. No, I use super glue to glue those pieces together. I use PVA glue on the wall when I glue them to the walls. So at this point, I was figuring the model's done. It looks good. I was really happy with it. The trim on the outside came out good, and I like how the detail it has. Now I was planning to just finish the little roof pieces, like I didn't do the corners. I was kind of just thinking I would do that and that this would be done. So I decided that I would do the shingled roof. Now the shingles come with it in the kit like this, and you can print one page. One page did this much of the roof. I was real happy with how it came out. This is 2 pages with the back and one side for the top roof and the roof around the porch. So in this little clip you can see the roof is a dramatic effect on the building, just the way the building is, and doing this really made it pop. I really like how this came out. So it wasn't as bad to do, because this is tedious stuff, but it was coming out looking good, so it was worth it. This is how I did each one of the strips. I did them freehand, and this is real time. This isn't sped up or anything. It took me about 1.5 minutes, or just under 2 minutes, to do each strip. Cutting all the edges one way. This was the quickest way it worked for me, and it came out good. Oh yeah, when they pop out like that, that's a little bit satisfying. It kind of makes you think it's like, pa-chow, pa-chow. Pa-chow, 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 pa-chow. Love it when they pop out like that. And of course I colored all the edges. This is how it looked. I was really happy with this. Really, I mean, the building itself isn't difficult to build. It does have some tedious stuff to it. I mean, I would say it's kind of tricky. It has some tricky parts. But I enjoy building the model. So I got some videos of it around the layout. Thanks for watching. Hope this was inspiring. God bless.